Hi class, today we're just going to have a really quick look at the interface of Blender and how to download it. So the first thing that I wanted to do is just show you where to download Blender from. So if we go to blender.org, we'll just pop that in and that takes us straight to the website. So not blender.com but blender.org, and we're just going to click on download. And now you'll be able to download Blender. Should detect if you're on Windows or Mac, but just double check that you download the right version. And then you can just do a normal install. Use your password and you'll be away. So once you've got Blender installed, let's just go back to the application itself. And I'll just, oops. Going back into Blender now, and the first window that we see is this 3D world. So it's got a zero type floor, so that kind of, think of that as the ground level. We can put things above or below the ground, but it's kind of like our 0 point, and we've got a few things in this scene. Now let's have a quick look at the environment itself. So up in here we've got this three-dimensional widget, and this helps us to see around in the scene. So I can click on it and I can just drag around inside that widget up on the top right, and that helps me move around, view things at different angles. That's good. Below that, up in the corner here, we've got a zoom. So you click on it once and then you just start moving up and down. So you don't have to move over on the screen. You stay clicked on the magnifying glass itself and we can zoom in and out. We've also got below that, we've got a hand. And if I click on the hand, keep it held down, it allows me to pan across. We've got the next one down is a camera. Allows me to see what the camera is looking at. We don't need to use that just yet. And also we can turn on and off perspective. So they're basically all the things that we've got to control our view for starters. And we can also view from a specific angle by clicking on one of these colored dots. So this is looking straight on the y-axis, and we can see that the cube, the view sets up square to that view. We can click on the X or the Z and we can see the object from different angles. So that makes our life nice and easy, and then we can zoom in and out and we can look around at our object as well. A couple of other things to know. Down here on this side, this is our selector. So it lets us select an object. We've got this one down here, the move tool allows us to move. So when we click on this tool and an object, it gives us these arrowheads. So we click on an arrowhead and it'll move just in that direction. If I click on the green one, you can see it lights up green and moves along just on that axis. So that's really handy for getting things nice and accurate. We've also got a rotate one down here, and we click on one of these colored arcs, and that lets us rotate just in that direction. Okay, so because we can move things in all directions in 3D, it's important to kind of know which way things are going. So by moving just one axis at a time, that makes things a lot easier. We've also got down here, we've got a scale tool, which lets us scale an object in different directions. And we've always got Control Z is the undo. And first up, we're going to learn to delete some objects, and then we're going to add some objects in. So I'm going to select this object up here is actually a camera. I'm going to hit my X key to delete. Over here, there's just a little light over here. I'm going to hit my X key, hit delete, and I'm going to get rid of this cube as well. So I'm going to hit my X key and I'll just select delete. Okay, that's good. Now, wherever this round cursor is where our new object is going to appear. And when I want to add in a new object, I come up to add up the top here, and the first thing that we want to add is a mesh. So meshes are objects that are made up of points. They're simple objects to create and edit. And so let me grab one, and maybe the first one that I might add in here is a torus. Okay, so the torus is a donut type of shape, but you can see there's lots of other ones here as well. So I can click and the torus appears. Now, before I move or touch the torus, you'll see that there's a little fold down window here. So I can click on this and it'll give me all the options. And you'll see that what I can do now is I can change the radius of my donut. I can change the minor radius. So I can change how fat it is. I can change how many segments it is going around the donut, and the major segments which give me the control points around it as well. So you can see if I go right down to 3, I've got a triangle. 4, it's a square donut, you know, and I can take it up from there. So you just adjust these to get it how you want. Once you've done those, you'll find that if I now move the object once, that those things disappear and the move becomes the last thing that I did down here in this window. So that's only kind of adjustable easily once in the when you're moving an object or when you're adding an object in. But that is the basics of how you add in an object. Once you have your object in there, you can change it up here from object mode. Object mode lets us move our object around, but it doesn't really let us change the shape of it. But if we go into edit mode for the object, then we can see all the geometry that makes up this object, and we can start to move that around. A couple of things we've got: vertexes, edges, and faces. So a vertex is just like single points that we can pull out and move them around. So I can pull out a single point like that. I'll just undo that. The next one along is an edge, and edges are these lines between the vertices. So I can pull out a single edge, and you can see how that moves it around. Let me just undo that. Or we can grab a single face. So face is the third one. And again, I can pull out a face. It pulls out. So faces are always made up of 4 vertices or 3 vertices and a face inside it. You can actually have more than 4, but generally we have 4. So that is the start of being able to create an object in Blender. So let's go out of edit mode to object mode. Okay, and then we can move this object around. So that's good. When it comes time to save, come up to File, Save As. I'm going to save this to my desktop. That's a good spot. And of course, it's called Untitled Blend because the computer doesn't know what to call this yet. So let's call this like donut or whatever you want to call it. I'll call it maybe I'll call it a donut lamp. Okay, so it's good to think of it as a descriptive term for your file that you know what it's going to be and that you save it somewhere, you know where it is, okay? So you have to put in just a little bit of thought into this process. And then once it's done, you can click on Save As, and that's good. So now we know that your file is saved and it's nice and safe. So a big part of working in 3D is that you need to actively manage saving your documents because you can really start going really crazy with the numbers and the settings, and before you know it, you can freeze the software. It's just a function of all 3D applications when you're working in them. So I hope that gives you a good just little first insight into how this software works. It's really deep and complex, but if you work at single things as you go, it'll become easy. Okay, so thank you.